Action!
Hey, welcome everybody. This is All Talk. This is our very first episode, and our first guest is a good friend of mine. I've known for a while now. Worked with him several times. Actually, last time I saw him was his first headlining gig at Zanies, which was awesome. He crushed it. So please welcome Anthony Bonazzo. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Definitely glad you're here. So
I get the headline and then we hit a pandemic, so that's my luck.
Exactly. They were like, everyone was like, you know what? We've had enough of Anthony.
Yeah. I think we could close shop for a couple months.
Yeah, we'll do that. We're all right. You know,
his career's on the up. Let's close comedies.
Exactly. Well, didn't you just get accepted to the to be an NBC finalist out in LA too?
No, I did a semifinals in Chicago.
The semifinals.
That would have been appropriate for me to have found that out.
Right, of course. I crush it. They were gonna send me on this world tour, and then you know,
here's your holdings deal, but actually, never mind. COVID.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's gonna be the next excuse for the next like 5 years. COVID. Sorry.
I was gonna write something new, and then I decided to sleep.
Yeah, COVID.
Exactly, COVID. That's just the punchline to like every joke from now on.
Exactly.
COVID.
Or if you just need an excuse to get out of something, I'm sorry, COVID, and it's just
exactly.
You're not going to ask anybody what that means. You're going to be like, oh, you had it, the family one. You're just going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't. Yeah, no. Like COVID is the new, like when you have kids, the thing that you get people to like turn around and walk away from. You're like, oh yeah, so like one of the girls got lice, and people are like, all right, well, yeah, I'll just. COVID's the new lice.
Deterrent. Yeah, eat that. COVID is the new lice.
Exactly.
You're that guy.
So I had a couple of questions for you. So I noticed. So you talk. I know you're a big Giants fan, Yankees fan, and everything. So are you from New York or are you from New Jersey?
A little bit of both. I was born in New York. We lived in New York until I was pretty young, and then we moved to New Jersey, and that's where we, kind of spent the rest of our upbringing. But the thing that's funny is like New Jersey and New York. Like my friend growing up in New Jersey, his house was on the New York State property line. So we always said, we're going to be going to New Jersey. And then we'd be like, we're going to New York, like, and just run to the other side of his backyard. That's how like intertwined the two are. So it's like, we were down the street from the border of New York. So it's like, some people like a couple comics are like, why do the Giants call them the New Jersey Giants? They're not from New York. They should be the New Jersey. And I'm like, when you leave MetLife Stadium, you could walk to the border. Like it's that close. So
when we lived out in New Jersey for a couple of years, we lived in Linden and then in Jersey City. And I was used to, my favorite thing to do to New Yorkers when I lived out there was I would give them a hard time about the New Jersey Giants and the New Jersey Jets, just because to watch them riled up. But nothing got New Yorkers more riled up, especially Brooklynites and people from Queens, where I'd be like, so you're from Long Island? They're like, no, I'm from Bronx. I'm like, yeah, but don't you live on it's like an island. It's like, it like goes way out. And they're like, well, yeah, it's Brooklyn. I'm like, so it's like on a long, like, and they were like, fuck you, I don't live in
right. That's like calling somebody from Schaumburg. You're just like,
exactly.
I'm from Schaumburg, from Chicago.
Yeah, that is not Chicago.
But like New York is so much closer than New Jersey, like to New Jersey than Schaumburg is to Chicago.
Right.
Depending where you go, like if you go to like South Jersey, no, but like you know, I could get on the train by my mom's house and be in New York like 30 minutes. We used to come home from Yankee games and we would be like, dumb high school kids, like, let's see how fast we can get home. And my friend would go like 80 the whole time. And we got home from a Yankee game one time in 15 minutes. It took us an hour and a half to get into the city over the bridge, 15 minutes to get home. I'm like, this is insane,
Yeah. Yeah. When we lived in Jersey City, I actually worked in Soho. And so I would get on the path in Gerald Square, and I had to be at work at 10. I would leave my house at 9:30 and walk to the train, and I would be to work like 10 minutes early.
How was living in Jersey City? That must have been rough when you were there.
it was pretty rough. You know, it was.
Still not that unrough, but people are
Yeah.
like that I grew up with are like buying houses there, and I'm like, ah. They're like, people are like, oh yeah, it's a great area. And I was like, ah. And then I talk to people that are there now. They're like, nah, it's still not that good.
We actually lived in Journal Square, and the back of our place overlooked what is that, 75 in the Holland Tunnel, and we saw, like, out our back window was the financial district of Manhattan, and it was beautiful. We actually, I'm sure you've watched Sopranos, um, the cemetery that they filmed all of their Soprano scenes in was what we looked over. Our house backed up to a ridge, it dropped down like 40, 50 feet, and then there was a cemetery, and that's where they filmed all the Sopranos. So we lived right there, and it was like only 1 or 2 ways out, so there wasn't a whole lot of crime back in there, but it was still Jersey City. I mean,
So you had
not
to hide bodies, is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly. Not a lot of crime, and Jersey City is still a lot of crime.
Right. Yeah, there's just certain spots that, like, when you grew up, like, you were just like even when I was really young, like, Brooklyn was really rough. And then all of a sudden, every comic and their mother was like, I'm moving to, Williamsburg. And I'm like, all right, I guess it's not rough anymore if you're going there. like,
Right.
it was just certain areas you avoided. It was Queens. Like, Queens was you always heard about people getting murdered growing up in Queens. Jersey City was always rough, and then
Yeah.
in Brooklyn, and now now Brooklyn's like a hub for comedy, which is just funny to me because it just shows you how much it's changed, that some of these weak ass comics can survive there. It's like, you're getting by there? Oh, I'll be fine if I go there.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah. So, now you came from a big family. You were one of 8. Where
Yeah.
are you in the 8?
7. So I have
Wow.
one sister.
One
Yeah.
sister that's younger.
6 sisters, 1 brother, which makes it even the dynamic even more dispersed.
Man, I thought I had
No
it
male
bad
energy
raising.
in that house. What's
I
that?
thought I had it bad raising, having 4 girls. So I got 4 girls. This is how much I want testosterone in my house. I actually changed Siri on my phone to an Australian dude, just so I could, just so I could hear another man's voice.
Simon. The Lions are not playing today, Michael.
Exactly. They don't play ever.
Yeah.
So one of 8, and then I saw a thing that you used to do impersonations of your family. Who's your favorite family member that you used to do an impression of, or that always got the biggest laugh?
Nobody was spared. It was everybody. It was like my mom, my dad, anybody that my brother-in-law, like, no. And I was like young, which was kind of like, I was kind of a dick because I was like 13, 12 years old at the dinner table, like making fun of people, like, and they were like drinking, but I didn't get that at the time. I just, they were laughing really hard, but I was also saying stuff that I just was like, oh my God, I can't believe that just came out of my, because it was probably meaner stuff then than I even say now. You know what I mean? But it's like when you've got that crowd on your side and you're 12, you're just like, I'm killing it. You don't want to go to bed, and I would be entertaining them for hours. Like, and
I'm going to Brooklyn. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. I'll eventually end up in Brooklyn when it gets a little bit safer. But yeah, I would just do everybody. Like if my dad, said something that in public that was embarrassing, like I would tell that whole story and reenact it. And it was pretty cool because it was like all the kids plus my brother-in-law plus my sister-in-law, my grandmother. I mean, it was like this was like a table of like 20 people at one point,
Right.
This huge Last Supper table, of just a bunch of Italians sitting around.
Speaking of a bunch of Italians sitting around, I saw your TikTok, because you're on TikTok now, and I saw your TikTok where you made. When we lived in, so do you call it sauce? Like, we lived above this lady in Jersey.
She called it gravy.
She was an Italian. She called it gravy, and it was the best shit I've ever eaten, dude. Like, it would take 6-7 hours to make it.
Yeah, this didn't take me 6 or 7 hours, but there's a lot of, it's like a little bit of a process, but it's so worth it. Like, I was buying all these cans, at the store, or like jars, and they were just like gross, and it was expensive. And actually, they had one in the grocery building where it was it said it was from Brooklyn, and so I bought it, but it was like $13, and I ate the whole jar. I'm like disgusting. Like I'll take the jar and just be like, and I'll just eat it like a tablespoon. It's like I love tomato sauce. So I was like, I gotta make my own. So I talked to my sister, and I finally was like, I'm making this. I have like a cauldron of sauce in the fridge right now, but it turned out really good. Um, but what was I? Oh yeah, so she calls it gravy.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
called
know.
it gravy.
I feel like that's like geographical, like where, like in Italy you're from or something, because nobody in my family calls it gravy.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
were her and her husband originally, they lived in northern New Jersey, and they were like, it's really Italian up here. And I'm like,
Where in Italy
all
they
right,
were from?
I don't.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
Oh,
Somebody else said that to me. They're like, hey, you say gravy, right? And I was like, and they were like, it was like some douche, and I'm like, no, like I don't say gravy. I mean, maybe it's like a slang, like younger. I don't know. I've never referred to it as gravy, but I know that there are people.
When you hear gravy, do you think white gravy or brown gravy?
Probably like brown gravy immediately.
Yeah, I'm a brown gravy guy. I mean, biscuits and gravy with like the white gravy and this sausage and whatnot. But when I think gravy, I think brown.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like in no association do I ever think gravy with the goodness of tomato sauce.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it actually sounds like a turn off. Like, I'm gonna put some gravy on my pasta. Like, no.
So I got to ask, because it wasn't that long ago, knowing that you're a Giants fan, what did you think of them taking offensive tackle with the 4th overall pick?
I don't know. This it's probably going to be another bust. This has Eric Flowers Part 2 written all over it. I'm just like, what are they doing? Like,
well, it's like the Lions taking that quarterback at 3.
Well, for some reason they have beef with Stafford, which I don't quite get. Like, he's been nothing but good with you guys, and they still have like, they're like, oh, we're going to trade him or draft a quarterback. But then again, the Packers drafted a quarterback in like the first or second round too, so it's like I don't know what anybody's doing anymore. The Giants were going to go after that guy who ended up. He was like a really big pass rusher. I think he went right after the Giants didn't pick him. And that's like their biggest problem is they have zero pass rush. That's why I found it ironic. It's like, yeah, they want to protect Daniel Jones. I get it, but I don't think like who they drafted would not have been available in the 4th or 5th round, like, or even later rounds. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Oh yeah.
Totally. Like go for what you don't have, which is zero defense. And now they're just building around Daniel Jones, and they completely neglect. Although they did get that, I think they got a safety or something from like Alabama or something. He's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
So it's like, get the pat. You couldn't have Chase Young because we basically beat the Redskins in the like last seconds of the games that took away our draft positioning, which was kind of dumb. But it was at the same time, it was like good morale boost for the Giants because we've been losing for so long. But it was like we could have had Chase Young too.
As a Lions fan, I keep telling everybody, they're like, what do you think? They keep asking me about Matthew, and they were talking about the pick and everything. And I'm like, that's all right. We'll just take Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick next year. That's that's probably what the Lions are going to do. Like,
they're never that terrible. I mean, it's it's going to be interesting if the year even happens, or they'll be running around with face.
All right. Well, the thing, it's funny too, like speaking of sports, I keep telling all my friends who are Yankees fans, the thing I keep telling them over and over is, well, at least your Yankees will be healthy finally. Like, Jesus, like the last 3 years, like at least half of your starters have been on the IL.
Yeah, like they're like, you're like, oh, my ankle. I'm like, what are you doing?
You're hitting a ball at me. What are you, crazy?
Get a strength and conditioning coach that's like not gonna make you guys just like you're silly buddy. You're just snapping hamstrings. Like, it's like, what is happening? But it should be interesting this year too. I don't even know anymore with them. We'll see. Now I'm so bitter because finding out that the Astros cheated. It's like I just remember sitting when Altuve hit that. I don't know if it was a home run or it was a base hit when.
It was a home run.
Yeah, I just was like, you got to be kidding me right now.
Yeah.
And know that they were just stealing signs and knew everything that was coming. It's like they should replay the game from that moment.
Yeah.
It's tied.
I don't know. My biggest problem with the whole Astros thing is nothing happened to the players. I mean, I guess unless you count Alex Cora, because he was the manager of the Sox. But I think something should be done to the players. But what do you do to them? Their bonuses have already been paid. They can't get that back. The rings have already been made. What do you get? I mean, what do you do to them? I mean, I guess the biggest concern would be like moving forward. They're probably not going to make as much money on their next contracts, any of those players that were involved with that. But, like to sit there and listen and not anything out of Verlander, who used to be the guy standing up and bitching the most about like juiced balls and everything. It's like, where are you now, Verlander?
Like spend them for the season and make like scrubs play,
Could be Major League 4.
You got to play all in minor leaguers, or there's got to be something that can be done.
Yeah, again, Willie Mays Hayes is probably ready to go.
What's that?
Willie Mays Hayes from
yeah,
Major League. He'd be ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did it in the NFL with referees. Let's do it with players in the NBA, MLB.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how'd that turn out for the Packers? Pretty good. I was actually having a draft party online with a couple buddies of mine. One of them who is the biggest Packers fan I've ever met. And when they drafted Jordan Love, he just goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna go, guys. I gotta do some processing."
I don't even know anything about him. Do you know anything about him?
I don't know anything about him. But the best part was the same guy followed up the next day. He was like, "So," he sent a text. Everybody's like, "So, I drank heavily last night and may or may not have or definitely have bought a Jordan Love jersey at 3:00 in the morning last night."
Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the biggest prick to him no matter what.
Well, dude, Brett Favre was laughing his ass off when they drafted him. Like, because that's what they did to Favre.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Rodgers is a lot more arrogant than what Favre was. So he's probably just going to be such a dick to this kid, because he's like, "Oh, no, you're not taking my spot anytime soon." But like, meanwhile, it's pretty much like I think the Packers probably already have a plan in the next 4 years to probably move on, and he doesn't want to see that because his own arrogance is getting in the way.
Oh yeah, sure.
Which is going to be ridiculous, because if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, which I don't know that he will, because they don't really necessarily build great teams around, but then again, they do and they don't. I don't know. They're such an interesting team. He may just only win one ring,
which would suck. I mean, Favre only won. I mean, listen, I'm a Lions fan. I'm a Bears hater.
Favre only won one, but Favre got the two.
Yeah, Favre only got one.
But he
got the two, but he only won one.
So
yeah, he made.
But the Packers have only been in one with Rodgers, right?
Yeah, they only 2010, I think.
Yeah, I think they beat the Steelers.
Something like that.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, they beat the Steelers, because one of my favorite stories, Alyssa, you know who Ryan Clark is on ESPN? He used to be a cornerback for the Steelers. He talks about his hatred for Aaron Rodgers. He's like, oh, he's probably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. But in that game, Clark read the play, knew exactly what was coming, and read it perfectly and jumped the route. And Aaron Rodgers threw it right over his head, and he missed it just barely. Somebody caught it, ran for a touchdown. And as he was walking off the field, Rodgers looked over at him and was like, "Hey, 25, that close. Just talking trash to Ryan Clark that he had just thrown that touchdown on him. So Clark's like, "That guy's an asshole. I can't stand him. He's a jerk."
Everybody has a story. Like, I think I did a show in Wisconsin one time, and some lady was like, "He's an asshole. We love him, but he's an asshole." She's like, we live next door to him, and he's an asshole. She said asshole like 5 times. She's like, my son had to do a project for school. Like, what if their favorite quarterback was? And he made the project, and he put it on his front door, and he rang the doorbell, and Aaron never came out, and he left it there. 2 days it sat out there, and then it disappeared. He never said anything to us. He's an asshole. I was like, okay. He's an asshole. I noted.
Noted.
So I think
Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, that's hard. Green Bay, it's such a small little town, and then you're sort of like in hiding, trying not to talk to people. It's like you're not in the right spot. you know.
Right, because you know everybody in that place knows exactly where he lives. Like,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
she could actually leave. She could live like 4 blocks away from him, but still technically be like next
Right,
door
our
neighbor.
neighbor.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I'm like, you know, that attitude would probably fly maybe in New York, not in like a small town in Wisconsin in the Midwest where people are going to be like extra sensitive, especially because Packers fans are always like, we own the team, even though it's like it's like this fake ownership thing that they have with the share that they own like 0.01%, but still, in their eyes, like it's like you should at least
right,
want to talk to us and answer the door when we invade your privacy and show up with our son's projects. It's like at least just don't be a dick. Like would never see Eli Manning doing that. You know, like Eli would be like, hey, come
right.
on in and have some cake. You know, so
Yeah,
that's
there's
his attitude.
the one person that I always heard was an asshole that disappointed me, and I actually have no no reason to believe that he is, other than like everyone else says he's an asshole. Is Zach Braff? Like, I love Zach Braff. I love everything he's been in. You know, Scrubs.
Mm.
What was it? Garden State. I don't know if you ever saw Garden State. That was
Yeah.
great. I think he actually wrote and directed that.
Mm.
But everybody I know that's met him is like, he's a huge asshole, and I'm like, all right, well,
No,
this
nothing's.
fucker's talented.
Yeah, I'm never
So,
surprised anymore when someone's like, "You're a prick."
yeah, exactly.
It's like when you go
Like,
to like,
oh,
it's like when
yeah,
you work at a club and you work like at a headliner. It's usually the people that have the biggest name that are usually the nicest, which is surprising, and the people that are like, I shouldn't say that. Like I haven't really worked with a ton of people that I was like, oh, that guy's an asshole or she's an asshole. Like it's only been like people that were like on the way up and then were
yeah,
already acting like an asshole. That was it. You know, like
yeah. I've only worked with one. Yeah, I've only worked with one asshole. And oddly enough, I can't remember his name. I just blocked it out. But it was like the first or second week I was doing paid work at the comedy club in Oklahoma City in Jokers. And I'm hosting and I'm just about to go up, and the headliner pulls me aside and he goes, "If you suck, I'll have you fired." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny." I go, "Hi." And he goes, "No, I'm serious. If you suck, I'll have you fired." And I'm like,
who's this guy?
okay, I don't, all right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're working at a club that's got, 30 people in it on a
You don't
Friday night in
not your
Oklahoma City,
authority
but
either. He's not the manager.
exactly. Yeah.
Stupid.
So I have one other question for you. When I was looking up, when I Googled your name to see everything that came up,
Dude, hot
did
guy.
you do acting in something called Justice Matters?
Oh that was um Eric.
President Bonazzo.
Yeah. Eric, Freddie, and Diego Torrado put that was like their final project for Second City Film School, or it was Diego's final project, and Eric just I'm not sure if it was both of them or just one. I think it was just maybe just Diego. They're good guys. They're comics. They used to come to the comedy bar open mic, and they asked me to be President Bonazzo in their sketch. It only took like 20 minutes, and it was like the most fun thing ever. And the video is insane. It's like funny, but like also like an acid trip, and it's just all these like crazy things. Did you watch the video?
No, I couldn't find
Uh, I'll
the
send it to
video.
you, or I'll
I
tag
just
you in
found
on
the
Facebook.
IMDb.
Oh, it's IMDb.
Yeah,
Wow.
tag me in it because yeah.
I'm gonna
So you
start
need to
looking
set up an
at it.
IMDb page now.
I know. I'm gonna
You
be like,
know?
hey, I was President Bonazzo in Justice Matters.
Well,
So
you did some stuff with the Onion that you should get
yeah,
credit for,
yeah, that was
right?
years ago, and it's weird because like I did like I think it was like Mike Glazer when he was living here. He just like tagged me in a post. It was
Mm-hmm.
like looking for a personal trainer. So then I ended up like responding, and they were like right away. They're like, "Can you come in tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Okay." So we shot this video, and then the guy's like, "I loved you. Can you come back in like 2 months and do this?" And I was like, "Okay." And then they were like, "We're doing some stuff with Clickhole now. Can you do this?" And I did that. So I did like a total of like 2 or 3 Onion, and then 2 or 3 Clickhole. And then like a couple of months ago, I'm sitting in my apartment, and I get this random text from my friend in Texas, and he's like, "Hey man, did you do a video for the Onion?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Because it's blowing up in Switzerland right now." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I was talking to my friend who's in Switzerland, and he's like, I'll check out this video." And I'm like, "That's my friend Anthony, and it's just like all over Switzerland right now." I'm like, "What?" So then it was like circulating the internet. They must have like reposted it or something, and it kind of like resurrected for the day. And I was like, "This is hilarious." But then I guess they moved on to like they got rid of like a lot of the people that I was working with, like the camera guys and the writers, and then they made it like so like you had to like only go through an agent to get these videos, and they don't really do a lot of the videos anymore. Clickhole does, but not much onion. So then it just kind of fizzled out, and I was like, it's a lot of work to try to go through an agent to get something that you're gonna get like $50 for the day, you know. So I ended up just fizzling out, but it was cool, you know, to do it because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna skip the middle segment that we were gonna do because we've been bullshitting for a while, which has been a lot of fun. It's been great catching up with you. But now I've got this envelope, the mystery envelope that we're gonna call this whole segment Ambushed. I have no idea what's in here. There's a couple of topics that my daughters or my wife has written down. So the first one is trumpet, because my oldest daughter plays the trumpet. Okay. Thoughts on the trumpet?
I immediately don't like it.
It's actually, I love the trumpet in jazz.
Yeah, I don't mind
the first four letters. Yeah.
Yeah, first four letters immediately. I was like, ooh, like my stomach kind of gurgled a little when I read that.
Like the one thing that I give them is like nothing political. I don't want anything political in any of the stuff I do. And I'm reading it. I'm like, oh shit.
As you've got that painting in the background, that immediately when you pull it out, that's all I thought. I'm gonna have to look online for that.
So my oldest daughter plays the trumpet. She's learning the trumpet. And so she's been practicing a lot. She had to practice upstairs, and we have upstairs a neighbor. My neighbor texted me the other day while she was practicing and just said, she's getting better. I was like, that's great.
At least it was a kind response.
Right. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Poop.
Oh, well, you know. We all need a good.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you ask an 8-year-old to write something down.
Hey, these are good. Put them together. You got a poop trumpet.
Yeah, poop trumpet. Oh, yeah. I don't want to give those girls any idea. I'm stuck in here. I'm worried. Here's the thing that's like the quarantine for me with all of these kids. Like, I'm worried when I say something sarcastic, like poop trumpet. Like, I can see them going, "Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe we could make that."
You can load it up, and that'll be a new TikTok video.
Exactly.
Some of these kids are just assholes. Have you watched any of these TikTok videos?
I have. Some of them are bad.
Terrible. Just mean kids that I'm like, that's not comedy. You're just abusing someone.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
There was one that I watched earlier though that I couldn't help but not laugh at, where there's this old lady sitting like on a porch, and the guy is on like the 30th floor, and he pulls out a Greek yogurt and he goes, "Bird poop trick," and he just takes like a scoop yogurt and just throws it over the ledge, and she goes, "Son of a bitch, are you kidding me right now?" It's actually kind of funny, but I was like, it's not comedy I would do, but that made me laugh my ass off when I saw that. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then when they go up in the grocery stores and they whisper at them, did you see all those ones?
No.
Or like they'll go up to somebody like right behind them and they'll be like, "Robbie," and they turn around. And like one guy's like, "Get the fuck out! I'll fucking kill you!" Like their reaction. Some people are like, "What are you doing, man?" And then some people are like, "Are you okay? You okay?" And he's like, Robbie, totally creeper. And they go like elaborate. One kid goes, "Watch this," and he has a guy who has his back, like he's like looking at stuff, and he pulls out one of those, like I don't even know what it was. It would look like a rocket, and he aims it at the guy, and you hear a and it shoots out like this huge cloud of red and pink smoke, and the guy's like enveloped in it, and he goes, "Oh fuck," and he runs like he's running from a tsunami, and the kid picks up a bunch of stuff from the shelf and is like, "Whoa," and the guy's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And he goes, "I don't even know." He purposely just picks up the stuff to make it look like it wasn't him. So mean.
I think one of the funnier ones that I've seen that it's just dumb, and I don't know why it made me laugh so hard, because I like cats. I don't have one, but they don't bother me.
You like what?
But it was two cats.
Oh.
But it's like two girls dancing, and they like kick their leg to the right, kick their leg straight, then they kick their other leg up, and then when they kick the other one, this chick just kicks a cat, and the cat's like, just goes flying across
So it
the
wasn't
room.
intentional.
And they're like, oh.
But it wasn't
total
intentional.
accident, 'cause you could tell by
Oh,
their,
that's okay.
because they were just filming like they're doing like a stupid dance, right? And the cat just walked at the wrong spot. It's like,
Well,
oh,
that's the best stuff is the accidental stuff, you know. And I think
right.
that's why I end up laughing is like when I see something that's like someone's reaction. My dad used to do that shit. Like he was like, "Oh, your mom's coming home from work. Look what I bought." And he bought like fake dog shit and he just like put it all over the bedroom. Like what kind of husband who's expecting anything good to happen does this to their wife, right?
Right.
My mom comes home, she's like, "What the hell happened?" He goes, "All the dogs got loose. Can you clean it up?" And she's like, "I'm not cleaning this shit up." And she's flipped out on my dad. He goes, "Diane, it's just fake. It's poop. Look, it's fake." She's like, "I just worked a 13-hour day and I got to come home to this bullshit." And he's like, "All right, kids, pick up the fake poop. It's not, mom didn't think it was funny." Like it was somehow my mom's bad sense of humor that, you know.
Right. Your mom, she's got no sense of humor.
Yeah, my mom. But then they had this was actually funny because you're talking about the Sopranos earlier. This totally reminded me of like a Sopranos where it's like these two kids in a basement and he takes a basketball and he just bounces it hard and then the daughter or his sister takes like a plastic bottle and throws it. So it makes it sound like something broke. And she goes, "Oh no, Robbie." And he goes, "Oh no. Oh shit." And the mom's like, "What'd you do?" And he goes, "What the hell are you two doing down there?" And this like dad with like this big beer belly, totally looks like he's in the mafia, comes down. And what they did is they put the background screensaver on the flat screen TV as cracked glass. So it looked like they were playing basketball and it broke the screen. And he's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck? We hadn't had that thing 2 weeks. It's a basketball net outside, you idiots." He goes, "Is that TikTok shit?" Like he figures it out.
Yeah.
That's that TikTok shit. And the best line ever is he going up the stairs. He comes back down. He goes, "Go read a book." I'm like, that is the truest, best parenting advice. Go read a book.
Oh man. So that's crazy. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Is there anything? Are you still doing online every night? Your yoga and comedy?
No, that was just one show
Just
last week, but we're probably gonna do it again because it turned out pretty good. It was better than we expected it to be. I mean, it wasn't like overly packed where it was like 100 people online, but it was a good amount and it ended up being a fun gig. I think if we do it again, I'll tell him that like, not that I'm like pretentious, but I think in order for it to be like a good show, I would be like, let's not do it until we can like RSVP 25 people or something like that, you know?
Sure.
It's amazing. Even in Zoom shows, people are still like this.
Yeah.
Like they're looking up. I'm like, you do realize I'm now like, I can 100% see you and I'm 100% more annoyed than I am if you did that live. You know, like
Exactly.
somebody's like in the background, like talking to somebody and I'm like, what are you doing?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
So
the pandemic,
like every open mic ever.
Yeah. Things will never change. But yeah, that was a cool little thing. And that was only like probably like the second one that I did. So hopefully we'll do another one and we'll see. I might have something else come up to the pipe in the next couple of days too, to just trying to stay busy with projects, you know, trying to come up with different ideas of stuff to do to keep busy. But I'm also working still, like doing training online. So I believe it or not, I find my days pretty busy because I'm like training early in the morning and then I work out and then I eat lunch. Next thing you know, it's like 3 or 4 o'clock. So I'm like, all right, half the day is gone there. And I actually did have a cool project that kind of fell into my lap too, was this buddy of mine. It's kind of a cool story. He like got like a message on LinkedIn from a guy he went to high school with. And he basically wanted to meet him for lunch. He had a business idea. So they put this idea together and he worked in corporate America and he just wanted to do something that was a little more, you know, like nurturing or sort of like fulfilling than just, you know, working in corporate America. So he wanted to design this app. So there's this app that they've put together as like his concept idea, similar to the Calm app, but it'll be like a meditative app, but with a comedic angle to it. So
nice.
Then my buddy brought me in as a writer. So now I'm doing writing for this app. So that actually takes up a lot of work. So like I have to like record stuff, and like I've got my pop filter, my mic set up right here, so I do a lot of recording, and then I send it off, and then he makes notes, and then I have to redo it and edit it, and then they, you know, kind of, there's been like a lot of sound issues in my apartment trying to get my soundproof right and all this stuff. So like then a lot of re-record. So like those things keep me busy too. So like if I'm not training, I'm pretty much working on the app. So sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too much busier than I want to be, but it's cool because I think once this gets released, which it's set to be released in the next couple of weeks, and a couple of my clips are actually on it, it's going to be pretty cool because I think there's nothing like it right now, and I think it'll work well because there's no concept like it, you know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm looking, like, I know it sounds weird to say something like this about a pandemic, but I'm looking forward to what innovations and really cool shit come out of this. You know, like I'm really looking forward to that kind of stuff, you know, like that people get to put a lot of time and energy into it. Like I was telling a buddy of mine earlier today, I was like, for having so much time on my hands now with this pandemic, I just don't have a whole lot of time. Like I'm doing stuff all day with the girls. My wife is still working full time, which is great. She's doing everything remotely here from home. But I'm like, I'm not teaching the girls. I'm making sure their links fucking work is what I'm doing. But I got to help them throughout the day. But then the little ones, the twins who are 5 and preschool, like I got these books for them that like we go over stuff. And they're like, okay, we're going to do this. Great. And then like 20 minutes in, it's literally 8:50. And they're like, all right, lunchtime. And they start getting their snacks out of their shit. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with snack time. I'm good with that.
Snack or nap? Which one?
Exactly. Either one is fine. Wow. Well, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. It was good catching up with you, and I'm glad you're doing healthy. And I forgot to ask because I know you are East Coast based. All your family's healthy. Everybody's good out there. So far, so good.
That's a loaded question. We'll talk off cam because that's like another 15 minutes. Just a lot of different things going on back at home, but otherwise now everything's in the clear and everybody's good. But there was a period where it was pretty bad. So, but everything's better now.
It seems like everybody that I know that is from the East Coast, that's kind of their response. It was scary. There's something going on, but so.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And I'm glad all is well. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Thank you.